Welcome back. Oh, man, what a wild day on the markets, and there's a reason why. Let's bring in Mike Eppel. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Wow, what a day. So it was breaking during our show yesterday. Pfizer releasing some of their early data, looking at, 90% efficacy in their late-stage trial, which is very encouraging. And wow, was there a reaction?
Yeah, there sure was. That combined with the so-called Biden bounce, it has been dubbed. Melanie, the market's also applauding the election results. So you had a double dose of, well, potentially good news, a shot in the arm, whatever cliche you want to use. But for a time yesterday, the benchmarks on Wall Street were at all-time record levels. We saw gains right off the bat of 5%, for example, for the Dow Jones. It was a euphoric trade, I think, more than anything else. But it was also not necessarily panic buying or anything of that nature. You don't want to see that. It was very steady and logical, for lack of a better description, because the companies that saw the biggest gains, for example, would be the most to benefit from a full return to normal. Society-wise, business-wise, we looked at shares of American Airlines, for example. Massive gain, up 16%. Carnival, cruise ship operator, up 39%. AMC Theaters, up 51%. And it's up another 20% this morning. And Macy's, retail brand, up by 17%. But then you see the flip side, and a lot of the companies that benefited the most from the pandemic, so to speak, because people were stuck inside, video conferencing and what have you, or buying things via e-commerce. Amazon, for example, was down 5%. There you see Zoom down 17%. Peloton was down 20%. On Bay Street, Shopify dropped by almost $200 back to $1,100 because it has seen such huge gains through e-commerce. If that flips the other way and actually people go out and shop like they used to, well, then we could see a very different thing going on in 2021.
I like the title of that board, Back to Normal, because it's been nothing but normal for these guys, right?
Why not? That's right.
When we talk about the logistics, though, when it comes to a vaccine, there are a number of intricacies here that people should be aware of.
Yeah, first off, the vaccine that Pfizer is working on has to be stored at something like minus 80 degrees Celsius. I mean, that in and of itself, very, very cold refrigeration temperatures. So it's one thing to have it where the vaccine is being developed, but then you have to ship it through container vehicles that can maintain a temperature of that nature. And then depending on what temperature you store it at will depend on how long it actually remains viable at the pharmacy level and our doctor's offices. So, I mean, there's a lot of money that's going to have to be spent here just to, again, and this is Pfizer's vaccine. The other companies are dealing with similar scenarios, but it's not just about developing it, it's then getting it out to a worldwide population of 6-7 billion people or thereabouts. So it's going to take quite a bit of time, and that's what we heard a lot of yesterday. Patience. This is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take months.
It's patience that a lot of people don't necessarily have for 2020, though, do they, Mike?
That's just it, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Beyond Meat taking a dip, or as you write, a face plant. I see what you did
yes,
there.
emphasis on the word plant, because Beyond Meat put out their earnings last night, and the company is saying that consumers are unpredictable. And that's not something you necessarily want to hear from a company when you're trying to figure out if it's going to be a consistent moneymaker. They saw a big run-up in people stocking up again during the pandemic binge buying. Then things pulled back. They lost a lot of business in the restaurant industry because people were eating more at home as opposed to going out to restaurants and such. So it's been very, very volatile for the earnings at this company. They had a partnership with McDonald's. Now they're working to develop. McDonald's says they're developing their own in-house sort of fake meat product or something of that nature. So there's lots of issues here, perhaps. And the stock price right now is down about 28% in pre-market trade.
Very quickly, a Canadian dollar. Wow.
Yeah, 77 cents. Haven't seen that in a couple of years. Bounced yesterday. Again, it was tied into the U.S. election results, which have actually really cooled off the U.S. dollar going forward. And again, it's this counterintuitive thing. You think that when things are volatile, you'd maybe stay away from the U.S. dollar because they've got massive, trillion-dollar debt levels, but that's the place that money goes. And when things calm down, they go away from the U.S. dollar and come back to the Canadian.
There it is. And it's our favorite B-roll that we like to show, those loonies, I think. I don't know when we shot that B-roll. That might have been from like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
but we don't have...
And everybody nowadays is just using tap.
No one's carrying money anymore, so we keep using that B-roll. All right, Mike, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every time we show it Andy, it's his favorite. We're like, there's the loony B-roll. There it is. Hey, Dee.